Is the all-new fully electric Maserati worth it or not? We have the 2025 Maserati Grecale Folgore in Nero Black over Rosa and Rosa interior. Charging times is basically the same as all the competitions. 0 to 60 around 4 seconds, but then you have the Trofeo that gets it a little bit quicker, and it's basically the same price, losing 17 horsepower to this. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides. I'm also going to compare this against the competition, throw in some pros and cons, and the problem that I have to see if this is really worth buying the fully electric Maserati. Starting in the front, you're gonna have full LED headlights, daytime runnings. The lighting comes out of the MC20. The grille, I like that it's a functional grille, so it's still paying heritage to Maserati with the vertical bars that integrate inside. The lower keeps it sporty, and the clearance will go as low as around 6.2 inches with a standard air suspension, which I don't mind that. But even going into the Trofeo, you're going to be getting the same thing. Housed underneath the hood, 542 horsepower and 605 pound-feet of torque paired to a single-speed automatic transmission, reaching 60 at 4 seconds, which is not going to be the fast. Porsche, the Macan EV, will be the fastest in the segment. Then Mercedes. Then BMW, and now we're also going to receive, for 26, a Cadillac Lyric V, which I'm kind of interested to see where it goes. Top speed at 137 miles per hour with a range around 311 miles, charging 20 to 80% on a DC charge. Maserati saying 29 minutes. A level 2, 62 miles per hour, so basically charge it up at nighttime like you would your cell phone. In daytime, you should have enough charge in the vehicle or almost a full charge. 21-inch wheels inspired by the Maserati logo with the triple air vents on the side. They're more unique though when you go to the EV because now you have them that light up. Folgore badging, it doesn't get the gloss black, it gets its own unique color, and why not? It's a full EV. But now going back to competition, it is going to be one of the slower in the segment. The speeds of this is nearly the same as an Acura ZDX. It's around 5 seconds, 0 to 60, so it's not a huge difference from this. So you could even look at a Modena, make it fully loaded, and you would have a similar drive, but this is going to have a lot more torque and horsepower combined underneath the hood of this. And gloss black is going to be around all the window trims. The door handles are flush for better aerodynamics. But the problem that I have ultimately with the Folgore is it's one of the slowest vehicles in its segment and one of the most expensive, because if you go to the Porsche Macan EV, we have a review on the channel already. They have 4 different trims that you can choose from in which it becomes less expensive or right at the same price as this, and it's faster, not only 0 to 60, but also top speed. Even Mercedes, even BMW. It shocks me that Maserati didn't go that extra step, considering they do that with the Gran Turismo. Full LED taillights that wrap around into the gloss black with the Maserati print. The lower gets the diffuser with no exhaust tips to be found, but I appreciate that. It's a full EV. But we don't receive a frunk. It's the slowest in its segment, one of the most expensive in its segment, bringing me back to the question, is it worth buying the Folgore Grecale? I like the brand. I personally am on my second Maserati, and the drive to these vehicles are awesome. But when you're going to EV, does it keep the DNA? That's what's going to make it for me, whether it's worth it or not. Don't forget to check out memberships for Hawkeye Rides. We have a couple different packages, so bloopers, rough cuts, and we have shorts depending on the packages that you pick. And we also have live streams that we bring to the channel so we can discuss these vehicles there, or just drop a comment and let me know what you think about it. Power liftgate going into 18.9 cubic feet of storage. You can option a home plug. That'll be here. They have these areas here that you can hold for bottles. This kind of bulges outwards a little bit more so than the standard gas variant. LED interior lights, bag holders, 12-volt charger, and to split fold the rear bench, you do so in the back at a 60-40 split. That maxes cargo to 56 cubic feet. Underneath the floor, you have a little bit of storage. This is a full electric Maserati, so we cannot go inside to start it up to hear the exhaust note. The key fob to the Grecale Folgore. Flush door handles, going into a flex leather seats, 14-way power seat adjustment, heated, ventilated front seats. They're a sport design, Maserati Trident badging, manual cushion extensions, And with Maserati, you're going to notice it's going to be a lot more tech than before. Let's fire it up. Now listen to how it sounds when you turn it off. They try to keep it as performance styled as possible. The air vents will go through the center of the dash. Cool thing when you use the wireless charging pad, the digital clock, you can see it will actually tell you that your phone is being charged. And going into a more laptop screen layout, so it's an 8.8-inch touchscreen on the lower for the dual climate control, your heated ventilated seats as well as your heated steering wheel, your lighting, every single thing basically is done through here. The clock, you can change the digital layout, so you'll have it here as a clock, a compass, you can see the brake and the power, and you also have your G meter. Maserati Intelligent Assist, or MIA, with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming, Bluetooth audio, and you have to put the gears by pushing it. So for reverse, we have a 360-degree reverse camera, full trajectory for the front and the rear. It also will expand out. Also has the tow line there. You can change different camera positions to make it a little bit easier. And they did this so that way you have a storage pocket right here with 2 USB ports, and tucked underneath here is the wireless charging pad. Gloss black elements is going to surround pretty much everywhere. And a con to me, when I drive these vehicles, you can't see the multi-function steering wheel in the daytime. Even now it kind of looks a little bit too glossy. Push button start, so this is out of the Alfa Romeo parts bin, and the driving mode select that you just simply go through here. So you have off-road, you have your max range, which is kind of the eco mode. You have the GT and the sport. And you can also turn the sports sound on, which we have with the sports suspension, a 12.3 digital reader that can go through an array of different content for the driver. And you can also change the cluster design. I like that it is intuitive. I just wish it was a little bit more quick and rapid. It reminds me similar of the Land Rovers and Range Rovers because it's a little bit more slower in the processing speed. Paddle shifters are metal. Going back into this carbon fiber, which has the orange inlays in it. There isn't any pass-through. And the best part is it's not really a driver-focused setup, even though it is slanted just a little bit, but it doesn't make it feel like the passenger doesn't belong in here. It's going to be a little bit more firm, opens up into a deep storage pocket with a 12-volt headroom, more than enough. Auto-dimming rear view mirror, LED interior lights, and a pano moonroof that goes all the way into the back. And leg space, you have plenty of it. The door panel and dashboard configured together nicely. I like the carbon fiber that comes into play. I kind of wish that it would brush into the dash somehow. Upgraded sound system with the aluminum mesh. Soft to touch. You have the contrast stitch, one touch up and down for all the windows. You push the button to get out, or you pull the lever if that doesn't work, and hopefully it always works because it's a full EV with a deep storage pocket. For the back seat, this is the opening that you have to get in to fit 2 more with the cup holders and armrest down. Third climate control setting, heated rear seats, USB port storage behind both of the front seats. There isn't any privacy cover. You get that carbon fiber that comes into play, the contrast stitch. It's a little bit more sporty with a smaller storage pocket. Leg space is more than enough. That's what I like about the Grecale. The same thing with the headroom. This is a smaller SUV than the Levante, and you actually have a little bit better space for the rear occupants. Sitting into the center, the floor isn't completely flat. That's the only con that I have here. Butt, leg, and shoulder space, and even knee space is still fine. Headroom, more than enough. So is it worth the price? Almost 550 horsepower, 605 pound-feet of torque. These EVs are no joke. Now the 0 to 60 isn't the best in class, but 4 seconds, it doesn't actually feel like 4 seconds because I've been driving this vehicle around for the day. And every time I just touch the throttle, it's just ready. So very responsive, especially in sport mode. Now a con though is when you change it into a comfort or a max range, that's not the case. Maneuverability is good. Look at this thing go, oh my God. But ultimately, it doesn't break. It's heavy, it's an EV, it's gonna take me to some pros and cons to see if this is worth it. For the pros, you have the latest technology, which is great. You have that soundtrack that comes into play, so you kind of appreciate things like that because it goes that extra step because it is not a vehicle that has an exhaust. but then it kind of can get annoying. So I like that you could turn it off too. I like the Game Boy charms that come into play. It feels aggressive whenever you're in sport mode. I dislike the gloss black on the steering wheel because I can't see the buttons whenever it's a sunny day in Florida, which is 90% of the time. And that goes into the infotainment screen as well. And there's really no point of this little storage box. I know that they carved out a little bit more storage. Just put the gear lever there. I hate pushing buttons to put it into gear. Because what happens, you're in a hurry, start the car up, push the button, it doesn't go into drive. Sometimes you gotta do it a couple of times. It's just annoying. The paddle shifts for the regenerative braking, it's not really a big deal, and changing from sport mode to like a comfort is going to be maybe 14 to 20 mile difference in range. Charging times isn't nothing fantastic, so whenever you are going against competition like Porsche, which is the fastest and it's basically the same price, it makes it hard to entertain this vehicle. As for Mercedes and BMW, they also have more horsepower and torque than this. Now, when this came out, it was the best in class, which is awesome, but I feel like they need to give a little bit more potential, because when you go into the Gran Turismo, that thing is freaking crazy with horsepower and torque. It is quiet, it is comfortable, 21-inch wheels, the seats are a little bit more sporty, not like BMW if you've been in one of those, but it does have more of a firm bolster to it, so it's not quite like Audi and Mercedes where it's a little bit more plush and soft. This is definitely a vehicle that you can get a speeding ticket really fast though, because you don't necessarily know how fast you're going. And that's one reason why I absolutely like that they give you that noise that filters in, because when you push it, it gets louder. Off the line, it's insane. Even in between lights, anytime you mash the throttle, it's very responsive. I think Maserati did an excellent job given the DNA of a gas variant but electrified, which is a reason why I would get it. But ultimately the reason why I would skip it is the Trofeo just unlocks a lot more performance. It's right at the same pricing. It's quicker to fill it up for me because it only takes maybe 5 minutes to fill up a gas variant vehicle. So I don't have to worry about range or range anxiety, whatever craziness people have these days with these electric variants. And there is some unique twists that they do. I mean, you get a leather wrap steering wheel, but you get flex leather for the seating. Come on, man. I mean, you're spending over 110 grand for this vehicle. I get it. I want to be eco-friendly, but it's not like they're using recyclable plastics throughout everywhere. I mean, look at this thing. Shit's fun. I always have a kick out of EVs because of what they do. I'm just not a big fan of that charging time, waiting all night long to get a full charge. 80% charge takes 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then it also depends on the charging port that you go to, because maybe the hub isn't good. They're not servicing them. And that's a major problem that happens with these EV vehicles. But if I was to go full EV, I may actually consider it because of how playful the vehicle is. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise website and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like. And I'd like to thank Maserati Tampa for giving us this 2025 Maserati Grecale Folgore for our car review.